Welcome to this video. In this video, I want to talk to you about how ignoring anxiety doesn't help it and what to do instead. So a lot of the times when people have anxiety, the number one thing that they do is they ignore their anxiety, or they push it down, or they just try not to deal with it. And logically this makes sense because everybody is always telling us, just try not to think about it. Things are going to be fine. You worry too much. And that's the advice that everybody gives us. So we just try to do what they tell us. And we know that not everybody has anxiety. We know that not everybody has this problem. And sometimes it feels like nobody else has this problem. So we just do what they say. We say, okay, we're just gonna forget about it. But anybody who has anxiety, anybody who's experienced anxiety knows that that doesn't work, and usually the anxiety will just come back, and when it comes back, it's a lot worse. And this is because the unconscious mind wants to heal itself. It wants to deal with the problem. But every time you push it down, every time you say, no, I'm not going to deal with it, or I'm just going to ignore it, you get a little hit of dopamine, and your mind goes, that worked. That's an effective solution to deal with this sensation. It's just to ignore it. And we get pretty good at that the more that we do it. And unfortunately, our unconscious mind will just continue to remind us. And it kind of turns into the snooze alarm on our alarm clock, where we just keep hitting snooze, and it just keeps ringing, and it keeps saying, hey, is it time to deal with this now? And it will come back, before we go to sleep, or when we wake up, or during times when things are quiet, and then we try to ignore it by doing something else. So we try to get our mind off and we try to focus on other things. So obviously this doesn't work. So what can we do instead? The best thing to do is when you start to experience that anxiety, your heart starts racing, getting that tightness in your chest, maybe you start ruminating, the best thing to do is actually to sit with the anxiety and put your focus on it. And say, what is this? Why do I feel this way? And just really try to understand what your body, what your mind is trying to tell you at that moment. And the more that you do this, the more that the anxiety won't have effect on you. The more that the anxiety will just start to loosen. Because anxiety isn't really logical. And usually when you start to dissect it, and when you start to understand what the problem is, it just kind of falls apart. And this is why a lot of people say, when I talk to them and they start describing the problem, they start saying, I don't even know what the problem is, And that's why people just tend to ignore it, because they say, I don't know why I have anxiety. I don't know why this keeps coming up. So I just try to ignore it and get on with my life. So the best thing to do when you have anxiety is to sit with it, let it breathe. There's a certain part of you that needs to be heard. And the best thing to do during that situation when you're feeling that anxiety is to let that part be heard, understand it, tell that part it's okay. Whatever you dealt with, it's gone now. We're not in trouble. We're not in danger. Allow your nervous system to calm down, breathe into it, and tell yourself, I can feel this and I can be okay. And if you need help with this, you can talk to somebody like me, and I can talk you through this. And we can get down to the root cause of what's really bothering you, where your anxiety is coming from, and we can resolve it so that you don't have to feel it again in the future. My name is Steven Holmes. I'm a certified hypnotherapist. I specialize in helping people with anxiety. If you'd like to work with me, you can click the consult call link in my description down below. I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to work with you. And I will see you guys in the next video.